Hi Scorpio, hope you guys are doing great today. Let's get right into the end of August read for you guys. General reading, take what resonates, throw out the rest. Energies could always be vice versa as well. And guys, we're going to do a different reading today. I'm going to start with the Lenormand, pull an astro card, throw the dice, but then we're going to be doing a yes/no reading. So if you have a question that you'd like a yes or no question answer to, and with some cards pulled on that situation, stay tuned because that's what we're going to be doing. But first, we're going to pull some Lenormand. I hope you guys are doing great. We do have the second half of August, I feel like, is going to just lend a little clarity. We do have the new moon in Leo, which is really fun, August 18th, because Leo's the landlord of the fifth house of fun, just to do with creativity, relationship with children, romance, what we do with our partner on a Monday through Sunday kind of basis, our hobbies, things that just we really love to do. So it's a very creative energy, you know, for all of those things. A very generous energy as well. Now, whatever it is that you're intending on, whatever your intention is for this new moon, you always want to look about 2 weeks out to see the culmination of it starting to come to fruition, right? So whatever it is, whether it's that relationship, that job, whatever it is, it needs to be very practical. And I do recommend writing it down in full sentence format, folding it up, particularly in blue ink. It's very effective. And putting it away somewhere. Doesn't mean that in 2 weeks it's going to, boom, be in your reality, but you're going to start to see the momentum of something happening within 2 weeks after that. So those are the personal planets and points at about 23 to 30 degrees of fixed sign. So Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, even though you guys, you know, are just Scorpio, right? I mean, and that's it. You guys are a fixed sign. You don't, depends what your other placements are, what your rising sun, what your moon sun, what your Venus, right? So you guys are going to be feeling it very strongly. But also, if you have 0 to 1 degree in any of the mutable signs as well, you're going to be feeling it even more strongly. So that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Most significantly, everybody's going to be feeling it, but those signs most significantly, particularly those degrees. Okay, but it is definitely lightening up the energy because Virgo, right? We're going into Virgo season now. Virgo is very pragmatic. They're the problem solvers of the zodiac, very structured in their thought process. So good stuff that we have going on. So Mercury is going to be entering Virgo on the 19th. And then the sun is entering Virgo on the 22nd. So again, time for precision and thought process. Paying attention to details, something we've been struggling with. All right, what's going on here? What's going on here, Virgo? So some sort of information is coming in that's going to create some sort of conflict, okay? Now, the birch moon can mean conflict. It can mean internal, external. I feel like there's some sort of message that's coming in that is very important it's a solid message about your future. So this could be a contract in the mail, some sort of notification in the mail, some sort of paperwork that you need that needs addressing. This could, you know, because it's information, it could also be obviously a text message, an email, a phone call, where there's some sort of information that's coming in and it creates some sort of argument, but it's the kind of argument that's going to push you to have to put all of your ducks in a row, having to do with the situation. So then we have the lilies, and because this is Lenormand, we have to read them like it's a conversation, okay? So I feel like we have conflict here, right, with the clouds and the sun, and then we have lilies. So lilies is all about wisdom and advice that you get from either your elders, your parents, your grandparents, a long-term partnership, a long-term friend, someone who really has your back and who really loves you and values you. Now, for many of you, though, this could simply mean getting a message from somebody who has passed onto the other side, who loved you very much. And they're being very serendipitous messages. This is a very, you know, the veil is very thin in this energy, but that message, that energy is on a very, very visceral level going to be helping you to actually put your ducks in a row, whatever you need to do to deal with this conflict so that you can evolve out of it and fly out of it like those birds are. Now we have at the end of the row, who's looking at all of this, who's waiting for us at the end, is this man. Now in Lenormand, the gender is pretty specific. So if you are a male Scorpio looking at this, this is you looking at whatever issues that I just addressed here, where there is some sort of correspondence or some sort of message comes to you. It creates either an internal or external conflict, and you get these messages either via, you know, serendipitous circumstances from somebody from the other side or spirit, or someone in your day-to-day that you really trust. But it's going to help you to get through and sort of lighten up on the other side, to work through whatever issue this is, whether it has to do with a job, the selling of real estate. And again, I am going to say that, right, because you guys have Mars in your 6th house square in your 3rd house, right? So, you know, Jupiter and Pluto are conjunct in there, creating a lot of, you know, yeah, I want to do this, I want to make the change, but Saturn is in there going, oh no, but you have to do this, this, and this first, right? You have to put this duck in a row and this duck in a row and da-da-da, right? I mean, it's kind of like that happening in your 3rd house of communication. 3rd house also has to do with contracts and agreement, like it has to do with paperwork. It has to do with, again, any kind of communication like that. So anyway, if you are the male, that could be you. Or this could be, if you're a female, this could be your significant other. But guys, it doesn't have to be a significant other. It could just is a male indicated in this energy. So you could be a single female Scorpio, but where you're dealing with a male within this, right? So maybe, again, there is, if it's not the selling of a property, a business, perhaps it is a new boss, a business partner, you know, this could represent a brother, a really good male friend, and, you know, anyone like that. Just because he's holding a rose, don't get tripped up by that, because this is just basically a message. But he's just hanging out, looking at the process of what's going on here, and he's patiently waiting at the end, wanting things to work out, wanting to help you to work these things out. So this male energy can certainly also be the person that shows up in the lily. Because if this is like a long, let's say it's a husband, or let's say it is a, you know, a long-term business partner who's going to work through some sort of issue with you, a brother who's sitting down listening to you, helping you work something out, your dad, you know, and, you know, anybody like that. All right, but that is what I see for that. For the Lenormand, those are the Lenormand messages. Yeah, listen, having to do with the 6th house of day-to-day. So Virgo energy, so definitely a problem-solving energy. So I do like this. Sagittarius, it has to do with really looking at your belief system, what it is that you believe and what needs addressing in this area. And you really have to notice, you know, keeping it real, where you have built up the borders in your life. And you really have to summon the curiosity and the courage to pull them down now. And get in touch with what kind of false narratives, you know, do you tell yourself about yourself or about another person? You really have to have faith here with Sagittarius, and optimism in questioning life and taking a more authentic path that's meant for you, that's meant to change your day-to-day life, your everyday, even your health, guys, even your health. The 6th house is health. So I do like, oh look, and yeah, and then we have Uranus. So for which I didn't mention yet, but you happen to have Uranus is going to be going retrograde in your 7th house mid-month. So whenever Uranus shows up, it's like, boom, surprise. There's always big changes whenever Uranus hits a house, and your 7th house is your house of relationships. So it's not only intimate, it can be marital level partnerships, business partnerships, really close friendships, really close family connections, anyone who we have like a shared soul purpose with. There's going to be a big surprise happening with Uranus there. You know, it's pretty on the money when Uranus is, guys, particularly when Uranus goes retrograde, because what happens here is there's going to be a realization that you're going to be making within yourself about this, because whenever there's a retrograde energy, it first starts from you and then it comes to the outside, to the external. So it's internal to the external. Whenever we have a planet retrograde, we have to make the changes in order to get the gifts, right? This is what has to happen. So you may be changing your tune on a particular relationship, changing a tune on a certain approach to a job, a business deal, some sort of anything that would require some sort of negotiation. Okay, you may be in a space of changing your tune, changing your perspective. It doesn't mean that you're not going to do it all together. You just may You may be making concessions where you didn't think you would make concessions, and so forth, okay? So that's what we have for those. Let's just pull an astro card, and then we'll get right into the yes/no question. So let's just see, what do you need to tap into to get you through this end of April? Aries, yeah, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Be brave. Do it scared. Be very self-confident. That's Aries. Fresh path, a new perspective. Stay focused on a new way of looking at things. That is really, really good. Aries is the landlord of the first house itself, so you really want to focus on yourself and what you need and want at the end of the day, and less on your ego. Really get in touch with where we all go through that sometimes, so don't beat yourself up. All right, so let's do some crystal visions for our yes/no. I hope by now you all have your question formulated in your mind. Try to clear all the other thoughts and try to focus on it being just one question, because I know a lot of times people are like, oh, but I want to know about this relationship, but I want to know about this job, I want to know. If you guys like the yes/no, I could definitely incorporate it like in a smaller version into other readings, like I've done in the past, but I've just had so many requests to do a full reading of these. So let's just see what comes up. Scorpio friends. Okay. Okay, get a nice deep breath in. Ask the question 3 times. First, we have 7 of Pentacles. That's a yes card. 2 of Cups, a definite yes card. The Chariot, a 3rd yes card. Very nice. We have no complications here, no neutrals, no exceptions. Okay, so now let's pull 2 qualifiers and see what's going on. What's the situation? The answer is yes, but how are we going to get there? Let's see. 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Swords. So we have a yes card that's 2 no cards under it. So let's talk about that for a moment. But let's pull all the qualifiers. King of Swords in reverse. 4 of Cups. Get the full reverse. Okay. Yeah, okay. You don't want to let something go, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly, we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so well, first of all, let's talk about the 7 of Pentacles. So this is, as I say, the 4 of the worlds and the 3 of the Trinity. This is where heaven and earth meet. This is indicative of a new cycle. This is also indicative of you putting hard work into this next cycle and it going really, really well, because it's Saturn and Taurus. And Saturn, again, is not the boogeyman. It's just about putting in the hard work and being very organized and very... doing things the right way. And when you're doing it in Taurus, especially now that Uranus is in Taurus, it's just, there's so much change going on here. But it's very, Taurus is a very earthy sign. It's a money sign as well. It's also ruled by Venus. So this is, putting the hard work into the relationship, putting the hard work into making money, putting the hard work into that business connection. It's putting in the hard work and having it go really, really beautifully. So I like that. And we have the 5 of Pentacles though. So this can indicate, for some of you, this can indicate having been in a situation where things ended with a relationship or a job, and you were left, one of you or both of you were left just really, really sad and really in a space of lack. Really, really, deep missing. Feeling very disconnected. The general energetic influence of this is a feeling of lack, where you could feel like you're in a space of not having enough money, or just not feeling very connected to life right now. You might have, this typically does indicate having more support than you're recognizing, but maybe not the kind of support that you're really looking for, that you're really aching for, is what I'm seeing happening here. And then we have the 5 of Swords. Now, Five of Swords, like nobody's winning here, right? Nobody really. I mean, this is about conflict, and you know, you may not win the argument, but there's no sense in continuing to yell. This is sort of like the kind of situation where, because Five is conflict and Swords are words, communication, it's also reality, but it's also Venus and Aquarius energy. So Venus in Aquarius, this is all about the future and really questioning how things are going to be any different than they are right now. And it's kind of this sort of energy where no one really wins. You sort of in a stalemate, because it's this kind of energy where it's like, well, you did this, well, you did that, or this happened in that job and then that happened in this job, but it's never going to be any different. And there's a self-prophesizing, I feel like, that happens with this energy that we all need to be very careful of. But what is important to understand here is there's no point in trying to keep yelling about the same old thing, because that's not going to fix anything. If you're going to move into the future, what this energy really wants you to do and evolve it into the future, there really needs to be more of like, really tap into the Virgo energy that's going to be surrounding us the end of August, you know, as I mentioned before, because Virgo is all about solutions, right? It's all about solutions in a very pragmatic way. What is the point to screaming about the toothpaste that's already out of the tube? You can't put it back in. No one's really going to use it. Just like get rid of it and just accept it and just now look for a solution to move forward, right? And I feel like that is what's necessary in order to gain the Seven of Pentacles energy is, you know, acknowledge the sense of lack, just have the discussion, talk about what is not okay going on here. What's not okay is to not honor and empathize with how someone is feeling, you know, because I feel like there needs to be some sort of meeting of the mind, some sort of cooperation going on here. And then we have the Two of Cups, which is just a beautiful energy, regardless of what you hear for. So obviously with relationship, it is planning to get engaged, planning to get married, deepening of commitment, moving in together, saying, come on, let's do this, let's move it to the next level. Okay, so that's beautiful. For those of you having to do with career, this is things going really beautifully, having to do with a contract, some sort of arrangement. If you need to rearrange your hours at work because you want to give something else a go in another part of your life, this is definitely blessed for that. Just, you know, any sort of negotiations that are necessary are going to go really well in the Two of Cups energy. So it's a definite yes energy here. So then we have the King of Swords. Now, the interesting thing with the King of Swords is you could feel like you're kind of stuck at the mercy of a situation, right? When it's reversed, where there's a lot of pressure on you to show up and perform or to deliver something. And, you know, and you're just feeling almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like oppressed in a way. Just painted into or backed up into a corner is really what I'm looking to say. You're feeling very backed up into the corner, you know, having to do with something. And now we have the Four of Cups energy here, which is very interesting because the Four of Cups energy, you know, I always talk about it's a little bit of an immature energy. When I say immature, I mean emotionally immature, where and it's not that it's not unintelligent. There is a very big difference because it doesn't matter how intelligent we are, we're all a little emotionally immature sometimes when it comes to things we care about. So this is the energy of, I always call it the checklist card, where it's like, I don't like this, that, and the other thing about them. But now this is the thing. If this has to do with a relationship, maybe you're not as ready for that level of relationship as you thought you were. You swore you're ready. You even right now, right? Because it's, you know, Scorpios get very, you know, I love my Scorpio people. You know, I love you guys. My husband's a Scorpio rising. But can tend to get a little stuck in being able to see the truth of a situation. Matter of fact, I have my Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, and I was very resistant to accept my Black Moon Lilith placement. What it meant. It's not bad, good, or indifferent. It just means it's very hard to absorb this, right? So you may think you're more ready for something than you actually are. because you may like the idea of the relationship, you may like the idea of the job, of that label, of that, whatever it is, right? Whatever the idea of that friendship, whatever it is. But when it comes down to really looking at what you have to do as far as showing up and being responsible in that role, you really don't want to have to do it. So it's easier to either pull away, do a little side shuffle, or to, identify things that you don't like, where and this could indicate you feeling disillusioned and very disappointed about something. This is how this can certainly show up in relationship. For some of you, for others of you, if you've been in a relationship for a very long time, this could indicate a tinge of boredom. And where because there's boredom, and because there's maybe your partner wants to move, or your partner wants to do something different, or you want to move and you're feeling bored, and there's a lot of pressure on you to show up and make these changes in order to maintain this Two of Cups energy. That could certainly be it as well. But it is this pressure on you, Scorpio, regardless of how it's showing up. You're feeling this pressure, where you have to show up. And then at the same time, there is this element. Now, this could be your partner. This could be you. This could be your partner. This could be you being just very bored with work, but very bored with your job, super bored. And you feel being made to feel like you have to do certain things that you really don't feel like you should be doing. And you're very disappointed and disillusioned at the whole thing. So even though the contracts are signed and everything looks good on paper, you're really not very happy there. So, right, general message. So I have to give you the different messages that come in. All right, and then we have the Chariot energy. Chariot is all about leaving toxicity, getting on the Chariot and moving towards that Cancer energy, the 4th house, right, where the firm foundation, roots, love, safety, all that stuff hangs out. So this tells me that you've been experiencing at least a pocket in your life where you haven't felt all of those things. You haven't felt completely grounded. You haven't felt completely safe. You haven't felt completely nurtured. You haven't felt all those things. And you're leaving that. You're getting on the Chariot and getting out of there, right? Because you don't want to bring that into your future with you. But then we have the Fool. And interestingly enough, we have the Fool, the Fool's reversed, but the Fool is all about, it's a Uranus energy, right? Now, keeping in mind, you have Uranus is retrograde in your 7th house. So there are going to be big changes that are going on in your 7th house of serious relationships, partnerships, friendships, and family connections, as I mentioned, right? But the Fool is about not taking those calculated risks, not wanting to advance forward on a new untraveled path. So in short, this is you not wanting to give up what it is that you're in, even though what you want to do is you want to take what you're in, whatever it is that you're in, you want to take it, but you want to get rid of the toxicity. So you have to figure out how to balance that out. And if there's any season that you can figure this out, it's Virgo season. But that's what's happening here. It's like you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You have no desire to do that. There is something in your life that you're saying, I got to, because everybody at the beginning of August, everybody was like, I have to get out of here. I got to change my occupation. I have to get out of this relationship. I have to end this friendship. I want to, believe me, I've been researching other countries to move to. I'm living in New York. It's like the pit of hell. Like my beautiful New York is not that anymore, right? And I'm like, that's it. I think I'm moving to Portugal. Wait, no, Germany. Hold on, Panama, And I've just been, that's where I was at the beginning of the month. So this is a common energy that a lot of us are feeling sort of across the board, right? All right, fine. But now the energy is going to start to settle a little bit. The tide's going to be changing a little bit. And you're going to say, you know what? There's toxicity in this. I don't want to do what I was doing. I need to change things so that I can have this thing, but where it can be more secure for me. It could be a more positive experience for me, because you don't want to move into uncharted territory and onto a new path. You like your path, whatever it is. Maybe not entirely so, but whatever is resonating with you for this particular reading. And then we have the Knight of Cups, which is fabulous. This is Aquarius and Pisces. It's exactly what I'm talking about, Scorpio. Aquarius is all about doing something different than you're doing now. It's out of the box. It's unique to your process now in order for you to go towards your dream. Because Pisces is a dream. It's the 12th house energy. It's where we allow ourselves to create our dreams. So yes, okay. So this is really nice. I feel like, and that is the general influence. So for some of you, you may be in this space of, if it has to do with figuring out a way of doing your job differently. It may mean, like, let's say, for example, let's just say you're in a, let's say, okay, Scorpios. So you guys, maybe you're a psychologist, or, you know, you have to do with something where you're figuring things out. Maybe you're a detective. Maybe you're, you know, those are all Scorpio things, actually doing anything that's unearthing, right? So maybe you're in construction, or you're into something to do with plants or shrubbery or anything like that. Anyway, I digress. But you doing it in a different way. So maybe you're doing the same thing, but you're going to work for a different company. You're doing the same thing, but you're going to go work for yourself. You know what I mean? So that where you're doing what you're doing your thing, but you're doing it differently. Okay. In the relationship area, you guys you have a good foundation, or at least you feel that the thread that holds you guys together is a good one, and you have to figure out a way of fixing your stuff and doing things differently and having a different approach so that things could evolve to the next level. The same idea goes with any sort of friend or family connection. You know, and if this is you where you're not resonating with any of those things, this is you realizing that there's nothing wrong with where you're at right now in your life. The issue is that you need to understand yourself a little more deeply and differently. And it's you can't run away from anything that is not working in your life. It needs to start from within you in order to produce external results and really start pulling some positive energies towards you. So that is what I have for you guys, my Scorpio friends. I hope this was helpful in some way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.